Taba Peterside, and she's the General Manager of Head Listings, Sales and Retention. Have I got that right?
Yes.
Thank you. You're welcome. Come on stage. A round of applause for her, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, my fellow ladies from Nigeria. Thank you very much. My name is Taba Peterside. I'm in charge of listing sales at the and retention at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And I have my colleagues and M to blame for this, because I came here like everybody else to relax after the day, have a drink and, you know, network and socialize, and somehow I find myself on this stage. So in the time I have, I just want to say I've been really inspired by the women I've heard this evening, and they've really helped me just to summarize everything I wanted to say. Because I'll just give you a little bit of my background, and then I'll just, a little bit of, I wouldn't say advice, maybe advice, yes, from my own experiences. My background has always been in the financial sector. I started my career in commercial banking and then in investment banking in Nigeria. I left Nigeria in 1999 as the head of corporate finance with what is now Stanbic IBTC, and one of our exhibitor companies who came to the exhibition with us from Nigeria, Stanbic IBTC Nigeria. In those days, it was just IBTC, a small boutique bank, before it was recently acquired. I left, I just felt I've done too much of this already, corporate finance. I didn't really feel fulfilled in what I was doing anymore. I had always had an interest in the research and financial services regulation aspect of the work. But in those days in Nigeria, there wasn't really too much of an opportunity with the regulators in the financial sector or in the research area. So I resigned and left. And I remember at the time everybody saying, "Are you crazy? How can you leave such a good job? How can you?" I said, "Well, just leave me to my craziness, but I'm leaving." And I decided to emigrate to Canada. And you know, people were asking me, "Do you have Canada? Why Canada? Do you have any job you're going to? Who do you know there?" And I said, "Well, I don't have anything I'm going to, but you know, I did my master's degree there in development economics. I have some family ties. I'll just go and try my luck." So anyway, with reluctance and people thinking, you know, the screw was loose somewhere, I left. And I just wanted to use that experience as to push for the power of networking. Because when I got there, as I said, I really did not know anybody, didn't have any contacts as such, but the government of Canada had some very generous immigrant programs which they were sponsoring. You know, so you could go and get free tips on how to network, on job search and all this. So I just threw myself into this. I was like somebody that was possessed. I just went for this thing. Sometimes the temperature was like minus 40 degrees. I remember one December. And so I was just going from place to place. I would attend all these seminars, print out my own cards, give them out to anybody who wanted to listen. And somehow, you know, one contact led to another. I got to Canada in October of '99, and by the beginning of the year 2000, with the millennium, I landed my first job. And so I was so relieved, and that really was to get on the ladder to get a start. And I had a job, it was with an economic consulting firm. And so from there, I was able to get various other appointments. I was very fortunate, very blessed. I ended up with the Canada Deposit Insurance Corporation, which really fitted where I wanted to be all along in terms of the financial sector, the regulatory side. With my first job there, I had consulting experience, the economic research. I also worked for a business research firm called the Conference Board of Canada. Then I worked with the deposit insurers before. In 2005, somehow the pull of Nigeria was stronger than I thought, and I ended up going back home. However, as I was going to leave Canada, I know I had very solid experience under my belt. And again, the same charge of, are you crazy? How can you leave this job? And how can you, do you have a job back home? I said no, but I really feel it is time to go back home. And in the visits I had made to Nigeria since I left in '99, I found a completely different country. The place had changed so much. Even just simple things like mobile phone technology and so on. I thought, wow, what am I doing? You know, I had good work experience and everything, but the best way I can describe it is that what I was doing in Canada was incremental, and what I had the chance to do in Nigeria was transformational. And so I took my chances. I eventually got back to working in Nigeria in 2008 via a diversion with the International Finance Corporation in Accra, in Ghana. And that was just a fantastic 2 years. Gave me the opportunity to really get to know the continent, because I was put in charge of a program to increase the financial options available to small businesses through leasing. So I was based in Accra, and I was supervising IFC programs in Rwanda and Tanzania. And then South Africa was Africa headquarters. And so I thought, wow, this continent has so much to offer. What are we doing rushing to London every summer? I'm not disparaging. I love this city, and people at home tease me that, you are going back home when they say it's time to do anything in London. But I just thought there's so much more out there. You know, there's a huge continental opportunity waiting. From the IFC, I then joined the stock exchange at the end of 2008 via a few months with an organization called the Africa Finance Corporation, which was trying to do what IFC does, you know, on a more continental level. So I've had a number of positions at the stock exchange, heading, you know, some regulatory areas. But where I am now, is we're trying to promote companies to list on the exchange, and we're trying to improve and strengthen the relationship with our existing listed companies and make them feel that they get something valuable from being listed on the exchange. So just to conclude, what have I learned in all this continent hopping and risk-taking and so on? I think the first thing really is the importance of taking risks. And not being, I see so many, and it's really a passion of mine to talk to younger women in Nigeria. I see so many of them who are trapped in jobs they don't really enjoy, you know, because I know it's hard, you know, our economy is growing very fast, but really there is still a problem of finding the right employment. So people get trapped in work they don't really enjoy, and far too young, you're already in a rut. Now, when I think about what I did in packing it all in and going to Canada, I can't imagine doing that now. But I did it then, and I did it at the phase where it was the thing to do, you know. So I just want to reiterate, please, about the importance of risk-taking. It's a cliche that very often it's not what you didn't do, you know, that, or what you did do that you end up regretting. It's the opportunities that were not taken. As far as women specifically go, I belong to an organization in Nigeria called WIMBIZ, Women in Management and Business. And they often say, toot your horn. Yes. You have to, I think we are too naturally modest. We don't want to appear too boastful. I was at a breakfast session with, I won't mention who, one of our listed companies invited the CEO and some of the management of the exchange just to normal breakfast session on business opportunities, Nigerian outlook, and so on. And as we went into it, was in a company, and the arrangement of the room, it was like a U roughly, and all the women were on the far back they were just in the curve, and it was all the men that were in front. And I sort of corralled them, as you can in Nigeria. At the end, I said, all of you, come here, women. I don't do that here, but they're all young women and everything. I said, why are you all sitting at the back? And many of them hadn't even noticed that they were all sitting at the back. So, and of course, when it came to question time, we didn't hear from them. They may have good things to say, but they were wondering, it's a stupid question. I mean, how will I appear and all that? So I think it's very important that we consciously try and mentor our younger women, coach, you know, Bernadette and Erica mentioned, we need to support each other, you know, and you know, in Nigeria at least, men have their natural networks. They end up in their clubs after work and so on. I know here, I mean, I grew up partly in the UK. I know women can go out for a drink after work and all that. It's not so common in Nigeria. So we have to make deliberate effort to make sure we promote ourselves. We go for networking lunches. We have opportunities to network each other and to mentor each other. And lastly, just on the theme of the conference, I'm very pleased to see that all the discussions this morning on diaspora and how we can work together, I found that really encouraging. And I've even noticed, like, on the flights between London and Lagos, there's more and more diaspora people just coming to see what's going on, you know, or people who are born in the UK, have been in the UK maybe since childhood, or their parents emigrated here. And they're coming to see what sort of opportunities are available, and they are available. So please, let's continue to use this conference to make the most of those opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Taba.